Hello, my name is James. I'm an actor, theatre director, and also an acting teacher. And I wanted to talk to you today about Shakespeare, one of my passions. So I go into schools and work with students on trying to liberate Shakespeare from academics and try to get people to act it as opposed to just talk about it. Tell you a bit of story about myself. I went to a London comprehensive school, all boys school, and I can remember us working on Romeo and Juliet. And when we were reading around, it came around to me and I had to read Juliet, which was hilarious for all of my classmates. And I felt totally humiliated by it all. And it took me a long time to get over it. I left school hating Shakespeare. And what changed my mind about that was going to see a play. And I completely changed and loved it, became an actor because of the experience, and then went on to work on Shakespeare's plays for a lot of my career as an actor. Which was fantastic, and so we all of us worry about knowing not enough about Shakespeare, and we worry that we're too silly for it, we're too stupid. But we have to look back to when the plays were originally written. When Shakespeare wrote these plays and when they were put together in a folio form in 1623, that was the first time that over 1,700 words were written down and created. Now, we're not sure whether Shakespeare created these words, but he certainly put them down in word form for us to use now. Words such as assassination, accommodate, and critic, words that we didn't have before. He also, as well, liked unwords. So where you'd have a word like comfortable, all he did was put in front of it and then it was uncomfortable. Unreal was another word that he invented, and also undress. So if you can dress yourself, then you can undress yourself. And lots of these words make up the 1,700 words that we have that he made for us. And thirdly, he liked to phrase as well. So some of the phrases we still use today, phrases like pure as the driven snow, wild goose chase, cruel to be kind, are all in the plays and weren't written down before Shakespeare wrote them down. So he was an inventor of words, and so we shouldn't get too hung up on what the words mean. Sometimes it's the feeling of what you think they might mean. So I wanted to talk to you about 3 top tips, I guess, for when you're working on Shakespeare's plays. Firstly, number 1, very important, act it out. It's really easy to sit down and just read it around a table and try to think, what does this mean? What does that mean? But you'll get further if you get up and act it and move it about. A few exercises I do is to have actors sit together, if it's a duologue, a 2-person scene, and they then do the scene like it's in a library or in church or in a cinema. So you have to be a bit conspiratorial and bring it right down. And then I get them to move to either sides of the room, and then I get them to perform it as if it was over the N3 or over a motorway. So a big distance with a lot of noise. And then other things you can do is to have one actor static, standing still, and then another actor be moving around, or both actors to be moving around. And you'll find that you'll get to understand the script a lot quicker this way by just getting up on its feet, performing it, and moving it around. Now, I know that was how it happened in originally, because they had one very short time to perform and also a short time to learn the plays. So they had to learn it really quickly, which brings me on to my second point. My second point is that everything you need to know about the script is in the script, okay? Everything from the character, from the what characters mean to each other, to the time, to what happened before, is all in the script. Subtext didn't come in until a few hundred years later. And so so when they say something, they mean it. There isn't another meaning. No, subtext means that you say one thing, but you really mean another. In Shakespeare, they mean everything they say. When you're thinking about the plays as well, when they talk about night, they didn't have the technology that we have today of lights and things that make it look like nighttime, because they were performing in daytime on a stage at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So how do you signify that it's nighttime? Well, you talk about the moon, you talk about how dark it is, and then maybe some characters bring on flaming torches, and then it's nighttime, and the audience will go with it. So everything you need to know about performing the plays is in the plays, is in the text, is in the characters. Which comes to my third point, is that Shakespeare had a very particular rhythm in the plays. Now, the standard rhythm is called blank verse, and that is 10 syllables to a line. So that's de-dum, 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 de-dum. Okay, that's your standard. Now, if he goes above that, if he has 11 syllables or 12 syllables in a line, or under that, he's trying to tell you something. And the reason for that is when the actors receive their scripts, they just received their parts. They didn't receive the whole play, because that would have taken someone ages to write out. So just their parts. And so they had to know really quickly, what were the lines that I need to pay particular attention to because they have more syllables? And those are the lines. Now, someone taught me that the best way to look at it is that those lines which are more syllables inside them, it means that the heartbeat is racing, the pulse is quickened, it means we're excited in some way. So let's take an example. Hamlet, okay, most famous monologue, soliloquy, but it isn't quite a soliloquy, is to be or not to be. Okay, so let's look at the first few lines of that. So, to be or not to be, that is the question. 11 syllables. Okay, so he's telling us something. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer, he's still telling us something. The slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, 11 again, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, 11, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, 11 again, no more, and by a sleep to say we end, 10 syllables. So, I've done it on a chart for you, okay? Just so it makes it easier. Because if you write it down like this and you put it into a chart, it's easy. So there's lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and there are the syllables on the side there, okay? So, the first line comes in here, 11. Second, 11. Third, 11. Fourth, 11. Fifth, and then the sixth one is down to 6. It goes down to 10 syllables, should I say, line 6. So we know that at the beginning of this speech, this character is excited, is angry, is confused. You decide, because you're the actor, what it's going to be. And by knowing this and by seeing this, we can see straight away that his heartbeat is right up here until line 6, and then it settles down. And it jumps up again, and then it settles down. That's just a really handy way for you to look at the scripts and the soliloquies or the monologues, and to get a real sense of emotional context of what the actor is meant to be feeling. So that's it. I hope that this has been useful, and I hope that you can join me for my workshop. I'm doing a workshop which is called Shakespeare, Yawn, Not. Ironic, because I'm very passionate about Shakespeare and I want other people to be too. So hopefully I will be in your school at some point in the future with my workshop.